Thank you very much, Dracosen and Yamato. Hello, Berlin! Welcome to the Caster Desk. I'm Quickshot, joined by Dagda for the first 2 games here of the last week of the summer regular season. I want to start by immediately highlighting some of the successful picks that we've seen. It's the last 3 days of 13-11. And the 3 most successful champions that we've seen thus far with 87% win rate is Azir, 75% rate, Maokai, and 67% Sire. They're the top 3 priority picks. What do you think these teams have to do? Both of them coming into game, 2 wins, 4 losses. If either team goes 3-0 this week, they can lock groups, but it's a tough task.
Yeah, I think for both these teams, it's trying to play to your strengths. Specifically, when I look at Astralis, it's a case of looking towards skirmishes on that top side of the map. That's been where they've been most successful in, like early Rift Heralds, trying to play towards Finn, especially when I look at Astralis, they're not a team that kind of traditionally fits into the meta, because we're seeing like weird picks like the Yasuo twice in the mid lane. We're seeing things like the Blitzcrank bot out.
Leader not fitting into the meta?
Yeah, who would have seen it coming?
No way.
Yeah, it's a shocking, mind-boggling one. But in for 1-1-3, much more leaning towards things like the Viego than the Sejuani, the Maokai. So I definitely think for Astralis, it's a little bit of a different one. For SK, I need to see early attention bot. I'd love something like Azir in that bot lane, but make sure you're giving that attention bot side from Markoon and getting your bot lane ahead.
I want to just focus in on that leader point just one more time, because we took a look at obviously the 3 most successful picks on 13-11 this summer. Of the 3 least successful, Neeko and Annie are 2 of them, along with Renekton. Neeko and Annie are 3 of leaders' 6 games that have not found success. Neeko has just been a pick that's been a bit more difficult to execute. So I'm intrigued to see, what do Astralis do in approach this week? Will there be any pivots? Because there's literally no more room for error.
So I actually watched Yamato's video earlier on today, and I think he had brought up an excellent point on where he talks about the fact that Europe only plays front to back. I think when you look a lot across like Neekos, Renektons, and Annies, which are your 3 lowest, these are champions that are played very heavily around finding flanks, especially when you look towards objective setup. Like if you're trying to fight for Dragon, okay, can we move in behind the back of the barn pit with an Annie to threaten the back line? And trying to create chaos there where it's not as simple as just working in a front to back. Whereas when you look at our 3 most popular picks, most successful picks,
yes,
Azir, Maokai, and Xayah, they like one direction.
Correct.
If you are just moving that into the one space, they're going to be perfectly happy, because you're going to be taking that space with things like the Maokai Ultimate, setting up feathers where you're attacking from one position, Azir Soldiers, Emperor's Device. These are all things that do very well in a front-to-back 5v5, and I think that's why we're seeing their success.
Well, we're going to find out what approach these 2 teams will take in just a few moments. I hear we are getting ready for picks and bans. Berlin, I think you're all a little quiet today, so I want to do a test here. Who of you here think Astralis will win? See, they're still quiet.
Yeah.
They're still quiet. But maybe, who here in Berlin thinks SK's going to win? Getting a little bit behind the organization. And who here wants to see Yuumi banned? They weren't listening. They weren't listening. I can see the fear in their eyes. If you're watching at home, we just need a couple extra minutes while the players are finishing adjusting their settings. We do apologize about that small delay. Luckily, I get to antagonize the Berlin crowd. I'm only here for 2 games. Hopefully, can get under the skin, play a little bit of Simon Cowell.
I'm sorry for you. You got to put up with him for 2 games.
Listen, you have to put up with me backstage, Dagda. So let's zoom out and talk a little bit about the stakes here, because I think when we take a look for the rest of the weekend, right? SK Gaming, their matches will be against Mad Lions and Fnatic. Tough. Top of the table, right? Astralis for the rest of the weekend, Exile and Koi. Now that's actually in some ways good, because there's opponents around you at the bottom of the table. These teams really want to advance to the group stage. Oh, that's enough for stake setting. We're ready for picks and bans. Berlin, make some noise! And welcome to Picks and Bans for game 1 of our regular season week 3 Saturday games. Astralis on the blue side will have the first opportunity, and these will be the last few days of 13-11 before we go to 13-13. And you see, listen, even these Berlin, there's like 7 people chanting. The weather outside is a little miserable, so I think it'll take them some time to wake up, you know? The kids are still a bit sleepy. We are gamers
get the coffee in, it'll be good. But there it is, Yuumi gonna be taken off the board. Still though, I like what we're getting out of Astralis. This has kind of been their go-tos. The LeBlanc taken off the board, Yuumi gone. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Milio taken away as well. They haven't really wanted to go towards these big enchanter supports for JeongHoon anyway. There goes the Milio. So I think they're more willing to say, hey look, go for something like Azir Lulu if you want to. JeongHoon wants to take something like a Blitzcrank as an answer.
Now, of course, we talked a little bit about some of the most successful picks. Kobbe's got 3 games on the Xayah this summer. 2 of them are the wins, the only 2 wins that have come in for Astralis, and it will be that first pick Vi. I think that the fact that Zeri is available, Aphelios is available, means that you can sort of pick and choose whichever option you want. This Poppy, if it is locked in for SK, will be the first Poppy of summer that I can see here for the squad. So picking that up, it's been one of the picks that has sort of risen in popularity over our 3 weeks of 13-11.
Yeah, especially when you look at the amount of dashes and everything else that's been coming through, especially with Static Shiv. Poppy started to rise up. She's just incredibly strong when you try to play her into that. Vi also, honestly, we've seen banned a huge amount. Not something we've seen picked up a lot, but something that can do a lot of work in these early stages, specifically with that ultimate as well. Now with the Rakan on the opposite side, it looks like JeongHoon going to respond with something like the Leona. Nautilus could do well as well, but especially for Astralis, I like the fact that they've got strong skirmishing jungler here for 1-1-3, where they can try and play towards what has been their strength in those early fights. And then adding the support that's more tank-orientated, engage-orientated, has always fitted JeongHoon. And there you go, the Nautilus to follow up on that Wild.
Ding, ding, ding. No surprises thus far, at least as far as the identity is concerned. Leader, the man in the middle, what will he be locking in? We mentioned, with Aphelios open, with Zeri open, no surprises to see one of those prioritized. Exakick, does he go the route of the Zeri? When I take a look, 1 game played, obviously has not won it. Has not played any Xayah this summer. It's been one of the sort of the sleeper hits, shall we say. Has some options available to him, and you see those engaged tools, maybe wouldn't be the worst of ideas, but of course that would mean foregoing the likes of a Zeri.
Yeah, I could see him maybe going Jinx here or something like that, but again, it's tough. You've got so many point-and-click CCs here that when you got the Vi and the Nautilus, it's the point-and-click CC that makes it really difficult to play these. So Poppy's going to be on point to make sure that she's keeping this Jinx safe. Otherwise, it's going to be a bloody disaster for her. But moving in towards the mid lane, you're already getting those leader bans coming through, and that's going to be the Aurelia gone.
Dagda, I genuinely think you have the best accent in all of League of Legends commentary. He's got his bloody work cut out for him. It's just fantastic. Now, this Poppy, flex, or do you reckon it's going to land up in sort of Markoon or Irrelevant's hands? What would be your anticipation?
I'd say jungle, just for Markoon. I think she works really well there. We have seen like people like BB playing in the top lane already, right? But I definitely think she feels more at home, has a good answer into things like the Vi and the Nautilus. So I imagine we'll see her, and then you keep that Irrelevant counter pick open where you can. Well, I was going to say go towards things like the Jax, but the Jax has already been taken off the board.
Just interestingly, for Markoon, if he does run this Poppy, it'll only be his 3rd ever Poppy in 195 games. Wow. He's won 1, he's lost 1. This will be the 3rd time, presuming it lands there. And you mentioned it, those leader champions. Aurelia is gone. Yasuo is gone. So Annie's still open and available. Neeko still open and available. Only reason I say it, it has been hovered a couple times, it has been played a few times. Will it be one of those options secured? Remember how difficult it is to execute, and it will be Sertuss playing it instead.
Sertuss has been someone, though, who hasn't really tried to go for a lot of these crazy plays with it, where it's like turn into a ward and see what you can find. It has very much been a case of I'm going to use this as a control mage and buy space as the enemy team is coming in. And I think in this scenario, it works out really well. But I do think Azir can do that just as well. And now you've got mega late game scaling on Astralis with leader having the Azir in the mid lane, good control over mid that can then lean into those topside plays. And we talked about the wanting to play for topside skirmishes. Renekton is perfect for that for Fit.
And remember, leader's been around for a very long time. 250 odd games, either professional, ERL level. He's only got 9 of them on Azir. It's not been a champion I typically associate with the player. However, it works in the meta. As we zoom out, I want to ask you something that Ender and Yamato were talking about earlier, making soup. It can come from a can, I think Dracos was saying. Is this composition easy enough to execute, simple and straightforward for Astralis? You know, will it play into their favor?
I think for Astralis, yes. I think you've got easy to access points with like Renekton and Vi being very strong at the 8-minute mark where you can play for Rift Heralds. I think you've got good scaling with Kobbe and Leader there as well on the Aphelios and the Azir. On the opposite side, though, I think that's where you've got decent answers to a lot of this, right? Renekton, Vi, Nautilus, even Aphelios to a certain extent all want to play relatively short range, and you're into Gragas, Poppy, Neeko, and even setting up for things like the Rakan to come in late. So definitely it's going to be a toughie coming through for Astralis. They need to try and get the ball rolling in the early stages.
Get the ball rolling in the early stages. Okay, so pressure then. Let's see on whether or not on 1-3 you'll be able to help out on that Vi, get either of his solo lanes ahead. I mean, Renekton has been a pick that has struggled a little bit this summer. Azir on the other end, those front-to-back team fights, they're scaling. It has been what's worked for many other teams.
Yeah, I think the problem with Renekton is when you look at how Renekton's using AJ, it's much more about, hey, we're going to play for Rift Herald, have his flash up, try and use the push he has to then set up. That's not what we're getting in Europe. So I'm questioning to see if Finn is going to try and play to that, because that has been Astralis' strength.
Okay, let's keep our eyes on that Rift Herald. Berlin, thank you for making noise. Let's hit Summoner's Rift for Astralis SK. And welcome to Summoner's Rift for the 15th, final time, 13-11 here. Astralis already starting off a little bit defensively, while SK setting a fairly standard. I like that word there from DOS. I mean, let's build a little bit on the expectations that you were mentioning. Feeling a little bit of pressure on Astralis, or looking, hoping to see them play around Herald, get that early ball rolling just a little bit. What do we need to look for to see whether or not they're doing it well, or, you know, missing opportunities?
So I think a lot of it is going to be leaders should have decent control as we start to crest the 8-minute mark over that mid lane. You get good push with your soldiers, and you can then lean that into topside control with wards. 113 should be able to actually evade off of leaders' pressure to get some deep vision if you want to, maybe even just make Markoon's life a little bit more dangerous. And then for Finn, it's getting control over topside. Gragas is a really good answer into Renekton, because every time you want to try and dash forward, he just belly bops you, cues the ground, and walks away because you're too slow to catch up to him. So for Finn, it's a lot of trying to get control of the wave, or maybe even go for an early level 1 trade here, because they're actually invading here is SK. And Finn's also found Sertuss and
Okay, so pushing pressure here. 1, 2, 3, 4 members. This will mean that leader's untouched. If you look at the duo, Kobbe and JeongHoon, they did move from that bottom lane. Nobody's farming the minions just yet. 113 takes a shield to the face as Markoon bullies him and pushes him out.
Markoon also got the entire camp.
Yes.
So nothing went to 113 in that, and 113 uses smite. So 113 going to be very slow now on this, but also the fact that Markoon gets to now separate this bot side is going to make it far easier for Exakick and DOS to use their range advantage to push in, and that's something that you would struggle with traditionally up against the Nautilus, because you are a bit curious if 113 is going to be in the vicinity, but now knowing that Poppy's here, it's very hard for JeongHoon to play aggressive, and they know it.
A little knock up there onto JeongHoon, level 1 trade only. In actual fact, DOS I think comes away maybe just marginally behind on the HP. Just before we have any more shenanigans, Markoon is now trying to clear out yet another camp. JeongHoon's pinged him, so the Krugs are pushing forward. Keep an eye on Leader. Leader's already left lane, making his way forward. That auto attack boop and the ignite down to 200, 150 HP. 90 up for now. Markoon will get away from the Sand Soldiers. Leader doesn't commit either the flash or have the cooldowns to chase him. Markoon gets away with his life. Now that will slow him down, but he's also pushed 113 a little bit further behind.
Yeah, there's no reason for 113 to be on the bot side though, so for Markoon, you're all right. He's going to hop over and should be able to clear out his wolves as well. Just smite them down, make sure he's all good. So for Markoon, the fact he kept his flash was really impressive there. You always had to be a threat the leader was going to come over the wall, but both of them realizing they'd lose their flash and only open up opportunities then for Markoon to play a bit more around mid. Sertuss though wants to punish low health Poppy.
Will the vault be broken? Yes, it will. Flash after the Q, down to 200, 113 below 100 himself. So low! Sertuss escapes just with 60 odd HP. Nobody has fallen yet, but a lot of very close engages, Dagda.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Sertuss managed to get away from that, good flash from 113, but it does mean, again, Sertuss now going to reset. He'll have to TP back into mid. Leader should be able to freeze this wave and get a TP in himself, so no real summoner spells burnt apart from 113. Actually leaves the mid laners a little bit safer.
Okay, so while we do have just a brief moment, you touched on the fact that Finn on the Renekton, as well as the Vi, could have some tools around that Rift Herald. You see DOS trading for a moment. Let's talk a little bit about Astralis and their Rift Herald, because coming into the game, you wanted to highlight out how Astralis as a team have played around in the other objectives early on.
Yeah, I think what the biggest thing that I've seen from Astralis is, actually might have to hold on to this as Markoon finds 113, but the big thing for them is the way that they use Finn and Leader to get control over mid and then use that combo to try and find picks. We've seen it with Finn and Leader playing like Gragas Yasuo, with 113 trying to place things like the Viego to come in, or even Wukong. So a lot of it is trying to play for strong skirmishes topside and bringing JeongHoon into that mix, leaving Kobbe alone. And I want to see if they can try and continue this here, because this is the composition that's definitely set up for that, where you've got very easy point and click CC with the Vi, the Renekton, easy ways to set up your plays with Leader having that ultimate as well. So this is kind of Astralis playing to that strength on the top side.
And what we're going to see, if you are a fan of Astralis, is them working on their Drake control and Barons as well. Obviously, they get that first Herald 75% of the games, Finn continuing trading aggressively. He's up 11 CS over Irrelevant, but that will be cleared up very quickly because he's got around 8 or so in front of him. We're pretty much even in the middle lane, a minor advantage for Exakick down bottom. But more importantly for me, this is very, very like aggressive trading. Multiple champions, multiple skirmishes going very, very low. And both SK and Astralis happy to be playing on that sort of edge of safety before ultimates.
Yeah, Leader really wants to try and get this wave crash though, because Sertuss has a good amount of mana and he's got the health to at least survive a lot of that poke, as Leader's just completely run out of his own. So has to be careful of Markoon coming through, and that's why we kind of saw JeongHoon leaning up towards that mid lane just to make sure that Leader was safe on crashing that wave. So you can already see Astralis very much committed to keep Leader safe so we can try and play for those later fights.
Well, that's going to work out. I mean, scaling has been one of the most successful factors here. Azir is 7 wins, 1 loss over the course of summer season. And so far hasn't necessarily been held back. Teleport was used a couple of minutes ago. That poke damage he did take is now forced him to recall, but the wave is now crashing under his tower. And SK going to start towards this dragon. Sort of taking advantage of that recall interruption earlier. DOS managing to prevent Kobbe to finish the recall, knowing they've got that timing window. And I think that's just very good heads-up play here from SK.
Yeah, also punishing the fact that JeongHoon had moved, so you actually have the opportunity here to shove in bot. Kobbe can't really contest, so Kobbe resets. So just using that slight little bit of a window that they had to now make this play, it also means that they should be in a better position now where they can still contest Rift Herald and not have that trade on the map if they want to, because you're still not really a pushover for SK. The big thing is Sertuss still holding on to his flash from that initial trade, means that he can actually try and use it at this next fight. If Sertuss gets a big ultimate off, you can set up for a lot of damage coming through from Markoon and Irrelevant, but also don't forget Exakick should have level 6 on that bot side, so you always have to be careful of a random rocket coming down from the bot lane.
And listen, the Berlin crowd was behind SK when we did the pre-game chants. Don't forget that not only could Sertuss or Markoon or Exakick have that big impact, Mr. Irrelevant in the top lane has been one of the more impressive players. You don't shine a huge light on him very often, but look, he's got the highest damage minute of top laners. Sitting kill participation a little bit lower down, but relatively strong laning phase. And I think his Gragas barrels could be huge in buying time, disrupting those, you know, hard all-in engages from the Vine and the Nautilus. So I want to keep my eyes on how he plays out, especially with Rift Herald coming up in a minute.
Yeah, especially after his Jax performance against Koi. Like, that was the defining factor in that game and the reason that they were able to bring that one back against Koi. So, as you say, the bombs have to be on point, the belly bops have to be on point, and just making sure that they keep people off of Exakick is the core factor here. So, and at the moment, that seems to be a decent game plan, right? Exakick hasn't had any attention in his bot side. Yes, he's a little bit behind in CS, but you can see that massive wave that's stacking, so he's actually in a good spot. But Irrelevant now, trying to make his pressure known in this mid lane as well. And again, it's about getting control over this mid lane wave for the Rift Herald that's going to come up. And
importantly, yeah, like you mentioned, the Rift Herald in like 20-odd seconds, right? 730, 740, Irrelevant makes his way down, places some wards, shoves the wave out. So SK are making it very, very clear they want to contest this or look to secure it themselves. And they're managing to position wards in this western quadrant of the Rift. Sertuss also just turned himself into a minion, so I'm keeping an eye on him as he's got that pop blossom available.
I think they're bluffing, though. They're bluffing that they want to start up Rift Herald, because look at where Markoon is. He was already leaning down towards that bottom side, so I don't know if they were trying to maybe make a play there, but they've now invested a huge amount onto this bot side of the map, and there we go. We were talking about already, JeongHoon always roaming up towards these Rift Herald plays, pushing top now, got pushing mid, so SK need to make a lot work on this bot lane play. And it looks like they will, with Exakick already having that push in.
Okay, one plate secured. Kobbe being denied a little bit of farm. That Herald has just been taken out by 113 and Finn. Irrelevant cannot contest yet. Sertuss is being pushed in, so they got, what, 1 and a bit plates for the Herald. Assuming the Herald is wasted, there's the advantage, but look at this. Quickness dropped, grand entrance and flash committed. They get the ghost from Kobbe, the flash from JeongHoon, 1 more plate. But it is still a potential gold advantage for Astralis if they use their Herald appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, they should end up getting about 2 plates back anyway, but it is going to be a case of, okay, how do you try and use this? So, go try and use the mid to set up for, like, dragon control in a little bit, or do you want to just use a back pot to try and equal out the gold there? But not as much as SK would have liked. You can see they were trying to set up for a dive, but DOS just that bit short on the grand entrance means that you're able to escape away as Astralis.
Man, and Kobbe, I think the ghost sidestep was all he needed. I think on the timing they was able to get enough distance. It's only a 200 or 300 gold game. All right, let's see. Does anyone take the bait? Nope, definitely not. The Tangle Bobs go out immediately, and leader is chunked down. But follow Markoon, coming in from behind. Keeper's Verdict available to him. If he gets the angle right, could set up. Could also have been doing that just to shadow. While all that's going on, 113 did crest the ward. I believe 113 was spotted, so SK playing defensively. I think it's also why Markoon immediately cheated down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, wanted to make sure that he was going to be there in case any funny business happened. But at the moment, again, both these teams just trading blow for blow. We can see Astralis wanting to try and play towards that top side, SK not giving it to them, and I think that's a win for SK. They want to try and set up Exakick. Fantastic. Well, you got those plates into him, you've evened out a lot of the bot lane, and look, the gold looks even in that bot side, but you have to remember that there was a Cole which is literally just popped for Kobbe. That's going to be the difference maker there, whereas Exakick never went for one. So overall, you're keeping at least within touching distance there of everyone.
So Dagda, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What was the latest first blood of the Summer Split regular season? Give me a rough minute. We're getting close to it.
So, oh, hang on. May not get to there.
Let's find out. Is it going to break it? Literally, as I set it up, the ultimate cast occurs, the flash away, the burn is not going to find the kill. Okay, the game is still on. 12:51 BDS Koi was the latest first blood, and we're 2 minutes away from that.
That is nothing to me. Up until that LCK game last year, cast the game that had the record for the longest first blood ever. 32 minutes from JDG and FPX.
But that was just
in my first year of
exquisite
LPL.
tactical gaming. You know, like it was a beautiful game to watch.
I lost my mind.
It was a
Trevor.
okay. 12:51. That's the timer we're watching for between Astralis and SK. It is a 600 gold difference. Dragon number 2 is coming up, and the Herald hasn't been used yet. The only reason I want to be pedantic about the Herald is theoretically it's safe money, but you do still need to execute it well. And I've seen enough of them been bollocksed up to not fully trust it, right? So
you're not wrong.
I want to give credit to SK. I think their play around Dragon so far has been good. They've got a numbers advantage for now. They're committing the teleport as well. And this is a minion. Sertuss Neeko coming in. Dragon secured by SK. And the follow-up engage is good. Irrelevant is trying to get involved. Here he comes. The pop blossom down. Everybody's low with the first kill. Second kill for SK. They get the Drake. They've got 2 for now, and they have lost Exakick, and Finn's running for his life. Ultimately, that's a win for SK.
Massive win for SK, and again, Sertuss, great positioning with the teleport. Gets in behind the pit, manages to flank onto Kobbe, and Kobbe knows he's done for. I don't think you're going to get anything here, but...
I definitely got excited thinking about the pumping mechanics. Didn't manage to pull off, and it wasn't the latest first blood. 2 kills for SK and the Dragon.
But watch this, right? Because Kobbe is caught between a rock and a hard place here. As he starts to move in, you've already got 1 TP here. You've got Sertuss that's coming in the bottom side as well. Like, where do you try and go to? So the entire time, he knows he's going to go down, tries to flash away from Sertuss, can't get away. And with that gone, Leader is just not really in a position where he can try and carry this fight. SK are all grouped up, and yes, Exakick will fall, but it's a big win for SK in that engagement.
Extremely well done. They are still minorly behind in gold. However, with 2 dragons secured at 12 minutes, and remember what they gave up for the kill, the plates earlier was Herald. That is not the most inspiring Rift Herald summon, but they are backing it up. Will it get the charge? Will it get the plates? If this does not, it'll be SK that is leading the game. And look, it's dead already. I wasted Herald, and they managed to get that small advantage. But let's see how they continue to play it out, because if you look at the gold and the farm, it is still Astralis that are ahead.
And that's the thing. I mean, this is just a great read from SK about how Astralis play the game. Astralis are a team that like to play for skirmishes, play for Rift Herald, get this massive gold lead, and then they control and dictate the pace of the map. SK haven't given them that opportunity to find these skirmishes particularly early, so then they can get into a position where, well, 1-1-3 and Astralis fumble the Herald setup where they should have used the mid to create pressure to then move into bot side, but instead they come in absolutely separated. SK have better positioning and they completely destroy them. So for this, SK, like, the team has done their homework, so
and they're
shout
going
out
to
to
dive.
coaching staff.
They're going to dive here. Kobbe and JeongHoon are in trouble. Markoon's got backup from Sertuss. Will dive for the quickness, the entrance. Give Kobbe air miles. He had nothing to do in that fight. Sertuss won't find much with the Pop Blossom, and 113 re-engages with the Vault Breaker. Damage is continuing to come down from Exakick. Super Mega Death Rocket was fired. While that was going on, Leader was trying to pressure the middle lane. Another kill secured by SK, and Finn, he's thrown down the Dominus, trying to get Irrelevant. Backup from Leader with Empress Divide available to him, and they won't be able to do so. Instead, trying to take down the tower, the first of the game, and pull just a little bit further ahead in gold. So gold-wise, Astralis are leading. Objective and map-wise, I feel like SK have been more proactive, and here's that dive once again, Dagda.
Yeah, and it's really great setup. Markoon manages to just dodge away from JeongHoon's hook. They get the smack into the wall, immediate follow-up, and he goes down. At this stage, like Sertuss hops in to buy space for Markoon as he goes out, so they manage to get DOS out of the equation, and you just don't have the damage here to try and take down Markoon off the back of this. And this is fantastic play for SK and such a crucial win for them as well. As we said, Mad and Fnatic still to play over the course of this weekend. This win helps them out so much in trying to get to groups.
Now help me understand, even though SK are 1,000 behind, let's not disregard the 2 dragons in their favor. Also, I think if they can pull Astralis towards them, the Poppy, the Gragas, the Neeko, they need to be a little careful on how they execute, but I think it could also play into their favor. So right now, it's Rift Herald started off. Dagda on the setup. Astralis, they've got the 5-man stack up top. Irrelevant would need to TP in.
TP has just come up, and it looks like SK are just going to call it. They say, look, we can take the play on bot side. We don't really need to. Sertuss was in a decent position.
That's late.
For the flank, but yeah, very, very late.
Very late indeed. So Teleport was committed from Irrelevant. The Herald had already fallen. I didn't see if SK had full vision, but now with the positioning of Astralis, they can make a play for the middle tower. Barrel goes up, Body Slam didn't connect, leaders over the wall, Pop Blossom comes down, yes it caught 113, but JeongHoon's the real target. SK will find their 4th kill. Exakick does not give a damn, and instead is taking down this middle tower, and this would open up, obviously, deeper invades, potentially accelerate ahead. We're dead even on gold, and Astralis will get another tower back.
I mean, decent recovery on the play from SK. As you say, they were late. They could have traded for bot lane tower, but instead tried to cut off Astralis as they move into to cover mid lane. So nicely done to catch out Astralis in rotation. But still, you're trading top lane tower. You have traded Rift Herald. If Astralis can get value out of this by putting it in the mid lane, which they may just decide to do right now, then they could actually answer on mid lane trade as well. So it would actually come out as a win for Astralis.
All right, do you have a preference in either comp scaling? Think about that as this mid tower will now be sieged. 1, 2, 3 members of Astralis start to back away. Dragon is spawning. And Shelly got the charge, but the tower stands. So this would be the 3rd of the game, the 1st for Astralis.
The thing is, though, Astralis haven't actually had a proper reset yet because they were caught in rotation. So SK coming off the back of the reset are actually in a really good spot. And you can see this slight gold difference here.
Yeah, still leaning in favor of Astralis because of that earlier advantage in laning. The gold is in their favor. The pre-fight gold at the top of your screen showing the equipable value. SK now grouped up. Finn looking for a flank. It's not the most threatening with a Renekton. Dragon down to 4,000. The dance is on. Who will call the bluff? The keeper's verdict is fired, and Markoon sets it up beautifully. The Pop Blossom forces the flash from leader, and the Dragon was secured. He manages to get the blast going to safety, and the slide, the glide, manages to keep leader alive. The damage reply from the Moonlight Vigil. Astralis send their regards. They may have lost the Dragon, but so far they are winning the fight. SK are running for their lives, and Kobbe's running a little low on mana. Slice, dice, and Finn's looking for the stun. Sertuss's clone will go forward. So the kill goes to Astralis, the Dragon goes to SK. They are 1 away from Soul at 17 minutes.
Yeah, big that the SK got the Dragon, but Astralis are about to take a huge amount here. They get the mid lane turret. They should get good pressure on bot side, but it looks like actually Gragas is going to stick around to clear that out. But at the start was really nice for SK, but this is where you start to see the downside is that Irrelevant needs to kind of be that big engage tool. Doesn't get the cask into a position correctly, so you're actually safe here as leader. Manages to flash away, and now Astralis are back into the fight, and you're very separated SK. And with Sertuss having no ultimate, with the Azir being down, now the access to the backline becomes a really big threat for JeongHoon for the Vi, because you just don't have those disengage tools, and suddenly this Renekton is able to do work alongside the rest of the squad.
And I mean, Azir, fly baby fly. Emperor's Divide buying time. I think he was caught by 2 ultimates, gets the blast going to safety, and I formally apologize to Finn. Because I saw the flanking Renekton and went, I don't care. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. The way the fight played out, a lot of credit to Finn, but I don't think it should be surprising because when you look at how the team and how the damage is played out, Finn is currently the highest damage share for all top laners in the league.
And Finn has been an absolute beast. Like, genuinely, Finn has been so impressive this split, and one of the big reasons why Astralis have actually done so well, especially when we think back to like his Rumble game, even his Gragas games, he's been topping out the damage charts for the entirety of Astralis. And you think like Leader and Kobbe are playing carries 24/7, it's so impressive that Finn is the one coming out on top.
What's even more impressive is we see Finn looking to find another kill here. He's applying pressure. Now Emperor's Divide will catch onto Sertuss. Here comes 113 as well. Pop Blossom is channeled to dodge just a little. It won't be enough to keep Sertuss alive. Irrelevant's now backed up by DOS and Exakick. Finn gets the slice and the dice. No flash available to him. Kobbe will get some HP back, but I think he will be cut down. Fortunately, as he is traded, a 1-for-1. That graphic we just threw out about the damage share is just kudos to Dagda. You were preparing that coming into the game, highlighting the playstyle, and it literally was executed exactly to expectation. In addition to that, Dagda, you've read the draft well. We saw some of the priority on Herald, the attempt at least. SK responded well. Astralis are up in gold, behind in Dragons. The soul fight could be everything for SK.
And if it goes the same way as the last fight, it's not going to be SK's strong suit, right? A huge amount of SK's power right now relies on Irrelevant having flash, so he can try and set up for some of these plays with the cask, or DOS getting into a flank position so he can set up for something. This is a good read from Astralis, though. You look at Irrelevant on bot side, they're just going to see if they can try and get the TP out of them, especially with Exakick on reset.
I mean, look, the gold difference in the teams is 2,000, but of that 2,000, there is more than 3,000 gold in combat value because there's more consumables on the side of SK. They started to play around that Baron, they got the teleport out of Irrelevant. That's a win for them. They maintain control, but with a minute and a half, let's look towards this dragon. Let's look towards the vision and the ward setup. I think SK have been pretty good from my eyes in terms of playing around the objective. They just lost the fight after that third dragon.
And that's the thing, is that's where the crux of SK's problems has been team fighting. They haven't been able to get themselves set up or onto the same page. And that's why I was highlighting that you need Irrelevant to really step up. He has been, as you can see from the damage, but getting into a position where he can threaten backline, or at least where he can try and be that engage tool. Because at the moment, they're just, when the initial Poppy ultimate's coming in, they don't have that follow-up to quickly engage. So for SK, try and use a bit of your range that you have with Exakick. See if you can start to poke some people out. Try and avoid the receiving poke from leader, and maybe you can get into a bit of decent spot. But vision control right now, pretty good. You've got control over this entire area, and that's going to make it tough for Astralis to face check.
Listen, 45 seconds to go, and just look at that 40 CS difference. 2 items completed for leader, a 1,900 gold lead on a champion that he does not play significantly. 30 seconds to Dragon. Dragon's line has connected. Teleport's coming in, but will it be in time? Emperor's Divide is keeping Astralis on the front line. Kobbe starting to back away down to 50%, but that's 1-2 in reply for SK. Everybody's dying so far, but it looks like 1-1-3 Finn and Leader will clean this up. 4 members of SK killed. The ace is on the horizon. And what do they prio? The Dragon for now to prevent the soul.
Yeah, they want to try and stop that soul, but that was nearly SK finding the fight that they wanted. I was trying to highlight Irrelevant as he was coming in. Fantastic flank position to try and get in behind Astralis, but just was too late to the party. The fight had already started.
I think I was following Irrelevant. That Emperor's Divide felt to me like it bought enough time for the first kills in Astralis to ensure their solo lanes could clean it up.
Yeah, just the fact that Leader managed to get that separation was crucial. Even with Sertuss getting into the backline and Kobbe falling again, Finn kind of muscling his way through with a great flash from 1-1-3 onto the backline. But we'll see it here, right? As this fight is kicking off, keep your eyes on Irrelevant, who's on the bottom side. But Astralis, this hook from JeongHoon already starts off the fight. So by the time Irrelevant gets here, well, you've already started the front to back. Exakick isn't in a decent position. Leader buying space from Irrelevant, and then Sertuss. Great call here, but again, look at Exakick. He can't get any damage off this whole fight. He literally walks in, only to find the Finns here. 1-1-3's flashing on him, and he's off the table. Whereas Leader now is able to take over the fight alongside this Renekton to carry through the rest of it.
Astralis now commandingly in the lead. 3,000 gold up. More power across the respective carries, especially in those solo lanes. For the time being, 1,400 gold for Finn, 2,300 for Leader. No teleports available for either squad, and very clearly the focus is now Baron. Now, if you are a fan of SK, they are 1 dragon away from the soul. Unfortunately, it's not the most impactful, right? Chemtech will not have the same influence in the game as many others. However, soul into Elder with 4 drakes, if SK can find a way to win. The problem is, the 2 big team fights we've seen have gone the way of Astralis.
I mean, it's with Astralis just having a better setup, right? Taking it slow, making sure that they've actually got their carries in position. SK didn't want that fight to start when it did, and the hook from JeongHoon kind of put their plan to dust. So for SK now, it's about trying to use the fact that they should have mid-priority with Sertuss and Exakick to play into Fog of War, to make it difficult for Astralis to try and use the fact that they have these advantages to actually get any vision on the map.
Okay, now the question I'm going to ask you is, do you believe in Kobbe? We know Leader this game on the Azir. He's answered my questions. And the reason I'm going to ask if you believe in Kobbe, coming into the game, he was 10th for damage per minute. He's 10th for damage share. That's partially because Finn is just excelling. Kill participation sitting 10th for all. And right now on this Aphelios, he may be called to step up in his later fights. We saw in that previous fight, positioning was good. team helped him out. But we also want to see Kobbe stepping up, especially as we look to the rest of the weekend and look potentially making it to groups. It's going to be a tough road ahead.
Yeah, I think if they fight in the next 2 minutes, he can have a relatively okay time. The problem is when Sertuss flash comes up, Irrelevant flash comes up, DOS still has his. So that's where you've got to be so incredibly careful. The fact as well that you didn't take something like, obviously you can't cleanse the knockups or anything from Irrelevant, but just not having that to try and get away from DOS when he initially comes in means that if DOS is the one starting the fights, Kobbe's in a lot of trouble. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on how DOS can buy access to him, even to Leader as well, because that's where you can easily set up then for Sertuss, Irrelevant follow-up.
Leader's felt to me like being in real command of all of the skirmishes thus far. Dodged a number of ganks, he's used the full kit on the mobility as well. And SK, they're looking for an opportunity. Irrelevant's teleport has just become available, and we're 2 minutes from Dragon. You can see the wards being cleared out around Baron.
Yeah, also a different build than we traditionally see. This is the one that's kind of been touted by, well, Freak and the balance team is like, go Nashor's Tooth, try and go for this on-hit attack speed Azir. But when you look globally, it's actually been way more about like, hey, I just want to hit hard Liandry's Anguish, then Void Staff, these kind of things where you can actually just go for pure damage with the Q, but that's not really the way here. You want Astralis to be slow pushing and setting up for these fights with Finn on the flank.
Well, Finn wants to finish this game. The last time he flanked, he dealt the most damage of the fights. This time will be interrupted. Blast Cone is removed. 1.5 minutes from Dragon. Crucially, there is a ward just there behind the red buff of Astralis. So if SK are able to push Astralis into a position that a teleport is available, that could happen. Markoon's gone over the wall. Irrelevant, bops forward, will need the ultimate, the quickness thrown out to make a death throw, but look at the awesome! And the Moonlight Vigil! Finn manages to stay alive long enough to heal up! He's still not down! Finally, Exakick does it! But 113 has been able to keep everyone back! Leader and Kobbe on the front foot! Emperor's Divide separating them, and Kobbe's trying to find the damage, but he doesn't have the range, he doesn't have the fire for now. It's a 1-for-1 the top laners, and that was so close to disaster for both teams.
That was so close to perfection for SK though, but they just don't quite have enough to take down Finn fast enough. The fact that he manages to get that Gore Drinker, gets the extra health off his Q as well, and then SK just don't have enough to finish off the low health members of Astralis.
Is that the goal difference in the fight? I mean, we're never going to have enough time live to break it down, but that engage and the layering from SK was fantastic.
Yeah, this was really, really good stuff. And again, Markoon, perfect ultimate, hits Leader, hits Kobbe. That's exactly what you want. Right as they're coming through, and this should have been that moment. This should have been the setup. But look, heal comes through initially. Stopwatch them from Finn. They try to get onto 113, but Gore Drinker, Q, that heal coming through. Exakick getting stunned up at the back. It means that Finn buys so much time and space in this fight that 113 is able to re-engage. They get the turnaround, and Kobbe and Leader get back into the fight. So brilliant stuff from Finn there.
Very nicely done. Exakick, 6,000 damage in the fight. Obviously, without Leader and Kobbe available, they just weren't able to burn through that front line. The second Dragon secured by Astralis. Crucially though, SK have demonstrated that when they do get that front to back, they can execute it very well. We've also seen that whenever SK get flanked, that's when things start to flounder, right?
But that was like near perfect for SK. Like, you got the 2 carries out of the fight. You turn onto a big ultimate on the other 3 coming through from Sertuss, but still don't have enough left in the tank. Now, Exakick working up towards things like the LDR are going to work out really well for him, but he really needs a bit of attack speed in this build. Like, that's kind of the downside of Jinx, is if you don't have anything that actually provides that attack speed, it takes you so long to get this damage off in fights.
Yeah, you need that minigun. I mean, even just the 3 shots from Pow not really going to be enough. Teleports available for SK Gaming. Level advantages here. 2 in the mid lane, 1 in the top lane for Astralis. They've started Baron. JeongHoon spotted this out. Baron's down to 4,000. Keeper's Verdict whiffs. Keeper's Verdict did not find his target. 3,000 follows Sertuss. No flash, but Pop Blossom is there, and Astralis just completely steal away the Baron from under SK's nose.
JeongHoon was sitting in the mid lane, so SK couldn't actually try and engage in case that Nautilus ended up flanking him behind, and again, setting up beautifully for a lot of these carries, but not going to be the case there today. So Astralis managed to get away with daylight robbery.
No blast cone, no flashes, no way to get in. So that was just, again, heads up play here from Astralis.
And that's the thing, you have to play so safe on SK when Exakick doesn't have flash, Sertuss, nobody has the flash available apart from DOS. So if you end up in a position where JeongHoon wraps around, he gets the ultimate off, VoD follows up, Kobbe suddenly Gale Forces in with a ton of damage, like that's your backline dead. So SK, it's a tough choice, but you kind of are caught between a rock and a hard place there.
Well, right now, SK, may they want to start a fight. Markoon's been pulled backwards. The mine has thrown it up, and he cannot move. That's already the first down. Markoon dropped. DOS trying to do something irrelevant. Throws Kobbe back, but he's able to flash over the wall. Exakick's got one, but Leader's got a triple. And SK are routed. Super Mega Death Rocket, not enough to kill JeongHoon. 3-4-1. And Astralis just kill SK in front of their own towers.
They're not done yet, though. They still know they have the members' advantage, so they're going to keep pushing forward. Astralis, they'll get one more tower off the back. And even look on the top side, Finn's getting more.
In fact, he won 2 towers secured, 2 additional kills in the fight. Leader on this Azir has been exquisite. More importantly for me, how Astralis have played almost every team fight has been great.
Yeah, and I think that's been the big factor in this, is that SK's team fighting just hasn't been there. Haven't been able to set up at crucial points, specifically around that like 3rd and 4th dragon, to get themselves in a position where they're fighting. And this is brave from Astralis, right? You can see where Finn is at the moment. They know that Irrelevant's going to look for the TP in, but they just have so much left in the tank. The fact that you manage to immediately pick off Poppy, then you're able to turn on to Sertuss as well. Like, it just makes it so easy. SK never should have taken that route to try and get underneath that tower.
Well, SK unfortunately punished for it, and they fall even further behind. 7,000 gold. The base is still standing, and I'll just remind everybody what the standings look like for now. Both SK and Astralis sitting at 2 and 4. And when we take a look at Astralis' next games, XL as well as Koi. So you can see XL above them, Koi just below them. So for Astralis, a win here sets them up well. If they can get to 5, guaranteed groups.
It also separates them from that bunch that we kind of get at the bottom there. The 2 and 4 for, you know, well, maybe 2 and 5 for SK, BDS, Vitality, who are also going to be playing up against BDS. Like there's, or, sorry, not BDS, but there's still a lot of them that are there where they've got to try and separate themselves. And I think that's such a big win here for Astralis if they can pick this one up.
I don't have the full schedule in front of me, so I can't have the BDS matchup. What I will tell you is this. Right now, with a scoreline of 2 and 4, there are 55% of the remaining scenarios where SK Gaming advance to the next round, to group stages. If, however, they lose this, it drops to half, right? 27.6% of remaining scenarios. So things get very, very dicey. And both SK and Astralis are in this position as it's been a rough couple of weeks to the regular season.
Yeah, so BDS still have to try and play Vitality. So you got those two are going to be playing off against each other, which is going to make it tough. So for Astralis, this could be one that separates them and make sure that they make it in towards groups. Massive, massive win for them here today if they're able to close this one out.
I mean, it makes it really spicy to see what they do tomorrow because XL playing G2. One would assume XL will lose that game. That's what logic tells me.
Yeah, but they're 3-0.
Exactly. Yeah. They could be 4-0 going into tomorrow. Yeah. Well, listen, let's find out because Astralis still need to close this game out. And Silver Linings playbook for SK. Underneath their inhibitor turrets, the power of the Poppy, the Neeko, the Gragas become more valuable, right? Also, the next dragon for Astralis is only the 3rd. They don't have the soul yet. So SK still have time. I completely acknowledge it's a 7,000 gold deficit. I'm aware of that fact. But we've already seen them have one moment that looked good. That was close. That was very close. Dragon number 3 secured there by Astralis. But I mean, for SK, it has to be punish and overstep, punish and over ego play, and once again have another perfect fight and don't lose a member before anything can happen. DOS will get caught up by the ulti. Finn coming forward. Keeper's verdict fired and it misses. DOS is maybe costing.
Leader.
For now, Finn gets a gigantic
Leader.
Kill. The slide and glide and a flawless Empress Divide. Bow down to the mid lane god of Leader as Astralis decimate SK.
Astralis with the beautiful finish to close this one out. Sertuss is a minion and might drop like so many more this game.
Vin Diesel call Leader up for the next film because he's got the drifting skills to boot. The final dunk, 4-0-8. A flame horizon of more than 100 CS. A 5,000 gold lead. Now, while it wasn't only Leader, it was all about Astralis. They're hunting Sertuss for one more kill. The Nexus turrets are falling. Sertuss stands for a few seconds longer, but not much to speak of. Astralis are one step closer to the group stage. They'll take down the final Nexus turret, hit the Nexus to get the win, and Astralis will defeat SK.
huge win for Astralis. The fact now that they're going to be sitting at 3 and 4 puts themselves in a nice little tidy spot, especially with games to play against teams like XL, who are also sitting there in a similar position. Looking at teams like Koi that are also there. A lot of this is going to give them the strength and the ability to make sure that them getting into the groups is in their control.
I will just say this, leader, play Azir more, please. 250 games, that's 10 of them on Azir. I want to see more of those games.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, again, we kind of saw that Astralis were still hunting for the Astralis style. We want to try and play towards top side. We want to look for things like Rip Carol. And I appreciate what SK did. They were like, no, we read this. We don't want to touch that. We know that's where you're strong. So we're going to take it slow. We're going to trade it off on side, our bot side. We're going to look for these dragons and play towards late game team fights. But again, Astralis were able to bounce back the fights consistently going in their favor with better setup for their front to back.
I mean, and the question that I want to explore with you when we have more time, whether Astralis played the flanking, whether they played the setups of the skirmishes a little bit more like you would like to see from a Renekton. It didn't feel to me like many of those scenarios were just straight on head-on fights. Either leader was flanking or Finn was flanking, and it seemed to work for Astralis.
I think the big one was just that they fought before SK were ready, right? Like every time you think, okay, well, SK think they found this big fight, but it's not really in position because, oh, well, actually we bought enough time now to come back into this. Or they just catch people out in transition before you really get set up as SK.
Well, listen, SK weren't able to set up or get a foot in that game. So your nominees for player of the game at LEC on Twitter, Finn113 and Leader, and it is a tough choice. All three of them were imperative and pivotal in setting up so many of those fights.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Renekton looked incredible for Finn. Leader's Azir looked fantastic. And 113, so many times we haven't seen this fight get through, and he showed you why.
And of course, this time around, two of the most successful champions in the likes of the Azir stepping up. Azir being one of them, two of the most unsuccessful, Renekton and Neeko. Neeko continues to feel a little bit like a bait. It feels very difficult to execute in order to pick up those wins.
Yeah, it has to be played in a very deliberate way, again, like setting up early for objectives to enable her, and we just haven't really got to see that yet.
We haven't just yet. Right now, though, that does it from us in the cast desk. We're going to head on stage with Trouble standing by with Kobbe.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Kobbe, congrats on that win. It's a very important week, that week 3. You guys were 2 and 4, now 3 and 4. How do you feel about picking up the first victory?
Relieved, I would say. Not the best practice this week, but I think everyone played really well. Except for maybe myself. Didn't have the best game, but I'm really proud of how everyone played with like less practice than usual. So happy, relieved.
Well, I spoke to Finn a little bit earlier, and he said, you know what, SK really likes slow, calculated, methodical games. We're going to go fast straight off the get-go. That wasn't really the case, was it?
No, this game felt very... I mean, a few things went wrong in early game, and it was a classic stage game, I think. It was just very slow, like fight around Dragon, around Baron. I got a bit bored as well, did some fun plays, but yeah, classic stage game, I think.
Okay, I love that you mentioned that, because I've always wanted to ask pro players. A lot of the times, you make plays that some people might seem to not understand, and a lot of pro players say, I just got a little bored. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I'm not sure how it happens. Like, I don't think I played Aphelios yet, this split, and it's usually the same kind of plays you see, like the blue gun ult into Gale Force, into flash in, or I had a really good angle, but I didn't flash in for some reason. But yeah, it's just you play a champion a lot, and then you see the angle, and you have to react within a second. If you do, you look like a superhero. If not, then, well...
Well, talking about reacting, we're going to play a fight at 17 minutes where you guys were contesting for a dragon, but you ended up being all alone.
I'm trying to remember... Oh. I'm not sure what happened in this. I need to watch it again. We're hitting this Drake for a while. Yeah, 2 people get knocked away, and then... Yeah, I'm just there alone. My guns are not great for this fight. I think I'm pretty useless here. So I'm like not doing much damage. And let's see.
There you are.
Yeah, I did an ult. I rooted the Jinx. Got a kill. It was a good fight. We got Jinx flash, I think, and killed him, which is the most important against this comp.
Now, what happens in the comms when this happens? Because suddenly your entire front line is gone out of the picture. There's an Azir in the choke point getting chased, and you. So yeah. How does the communication work? What was called there?
For this fight, I don't actually remember, but later on, me and Leader got knocked away by Poppy ult, and then we're like, whoa, play slow, guys, because we have no damage left. Both our carries are knocked away. And then we're just, yeah, play slow, wait for us to come back again. But this fight I don't remember, honestly.
All right, now talking about leader. How did you guys persuade him to play Azir?
I think he realized the champion is really good, and he's also very good at playing it, I would say. I'm not sure. I wasn't a part of every draft talk meeting we had. So it's probably a mix. Like, he realized it's good, and JeongHoon has also been pushing it a bit. Those two.
He played well?
Yeah.
All right, Kobbe, thank you very much. Congrats on the first victory of the weekend. Best of luck for the rest one. We're going to go into a very quick break, but when we're back, we're going to have, let me look, Vitality versus... You're going to have to wait and see.
Engage is good, Irrelevant is trying to get involved. Here he comes, the pop blossom down! Everybody's low with the first kill, second kill for SK!
Can't kill.
Gragas is going in.
Nico flash.
Yeah. We win.
Look, Jinx.
I cannot, okay?
Jinx no flash.
You're winning.
Even? Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Doss is maybe costing.
Leader.
For now, Finn gets a gigantic leader. The slide and glide and a flawless Empress Divine bow down to the mid lane god of leader as Astralis decimate SK.